Good evening, everyone. Let's wait a little bit for Gabriel and Lionel to join in. Hope everyone is having a fantastic evening and hope that you're ready for a little bit for another Unplugged live session. So let's see where the guys are. Hope that it doesn't take them too long to get here. Okay, I think we have here Gabriel.
Hello, good
And we
evening.
have Lionel as well.
And Gabriel's on the way. There we
Okay,
go.
the gang is
Hello,
all here.
everyone.
So good evening, Lionel. Good evening, Gabriel. How are you
Good
guys
evening.
doing this evening?
Well, another tour of Sintra, another great day. Of course, demanding, intense, but here we are, ready for another tour tomorrow. So tomorrow, different stuff. Bobby dos Nazaré on the West Coast. And, we keep on the road, so keep on moving.
And
Lionel,
how about how? Yeah, go ahead, Gabriel.
okay. So Lionel, don't complain because what you are doing almost in a daily basis is what people they pay to do, okay? So I mean, sometimes we complain and then what we do, like today, I went for a food tour in Faro. I got lovely food. I even got a small beer. I mean, I think we shouldn't charge people when the people they hire us, okay?
Well,
Just
don't say
kidding.
that out loud because sometimes
No.
people will probably tell you that, well, you said that this is such a
Maybe,
joy to do that we
yeah,
wouldn't be willing to
exactly.
charge. So
Yeah,
careful
they
what you
take
wish
it.
for.
Yeah, exactly. They take it literally. Well, but I had a good day too.
Yeah. So speaking of which, we have a topic for tonight, and because you said that you had a fantastic food tour today, Gabriel, well, you selected the topic for today, which was precisely food and gastronomy, and then how to engage with local culture, and also the impact on local communities. So since this was your take on it, and because the things are still fresh in your memory, how about you
Yeah,
start diving into the topic a little bit?
I think it's a good idea. Well, had a wonderful day with these four fellows from Canada. It was a second tour. I had a tour with them on last Friday to Silves in the countryside. It was amazing. And today, so then we decided to run this tour in Faro, this food tour. Not just food, it was also a cultural tour because, of course, Faro, there's lots of culture there too. So it was amazing. We started from Faro and we went to visit some, pastry factories, bakeries, and the market. They tried the bifana. We tried some delicacies, some unique to the Algarve, with these, almonds and figs. We also went to some petiscos, a few tapas, the chorizo, the fresh cheese, the pork cheeks. It was amazing. But like I said on the introduction, we just made the post, a food tour is not just eating food, I mean, because people, they don't need a guide to eat food, but it's so much more than that. Like the bullet points they say, so engaging with local culture. I mean, let's get this straight. Everyone can visit places. They don't need a guide. Like I think it was last week, we've been talking about this. But the thing is, so when we have a local guide, we have a bridge that connects us way in a more immersive way, in a deep way with locals. So today we've been talking with people who run business for over 50 years. They sell Vista Alegre, the most popular dishes around Portugal, the cataplanas, a lovely couple with 85 years old. So then they share their own history, their own stories. Also the story beyond the guy who came from Venezuela and opened this bakery, this factory here. Then we went to this restaurant where the staff is amazing. Two brothers and then their mother, and then they use the recipe for from the grandmama. So it's not just the food; it's all this connection, this engagement, and then okay, many times people, they don't try something because they don't even know about it. The octopus cataplana, some wine from the Algarve, at the market in Faro. I bought some madroño, so the typical firewater to the Algarve. They try also figs with chestnuts. No, sorry, figs with nuts. What they try more, I'm trying to remember now. We piri piri. We bought some a small bottle with this piri piri, which is very popular, but so many people they don't even know what is piri piri. So all these small details that a guide can provide makes the whole difference. And then they ended up going to a nice restaurant, listening fado music in Faro, in the old town. Or there's a beautiful terrace on top of the wall, and then fado music. Before that, for the sunset, they went for a rooftop at the Hotel Faro with a wonderful view over the Rio Formosa Nature Park. So, I mean, what I provided to them, it was so much more than just food, okay? And they were very happy. I hope they can share some review or something. I think they will. In the meantime, I already shared because you know I can handle. So I love to share happy days. So it was really amazing, and we got. That's why this topic came to my mind because you know it's so important. And then in the meantime, as a local, I like to have these chats with our guests because sometimes they ask, Gabriel, what people here they think about tourists, what they think about expats, what they think about the crowds. What if we go to some local spots? They like us. They have menus in English, whatever. So it's very nice to hear people who are visiting Portugal and they really care about the impact because we always leave a footprint, right? We always impact the places we visit. So when I see people that are coming to visit Portugal, but they also think about our well-being, Jesus, this is the kind of guests I really love them. I like all guests, but sometimes as a traveler, we think we go to a place, we pay, they have to deliver, and that's it. No, it's not that's it. This is a big, this is like, it's like karma. It's like we are all connected. So what we do in a country, maybe at some point it returns to us. So when we visit a country, when people they visit Portugal and they show respect for our culture, they make the right questions. They today they asked me something. Or for instance, today at the shop, the Maurice he asked me, you know, Gabriel, can you ask if we can take a photo with them? It's not just taking a photo. No, they ask for permission. This is important. But I mean, there's so much that we can share about these experiences, and it's so wonderful when people they are aware about the impact of their actions. That makes me happy. You know, today I had a happy day, and I'm happy today. And well, I have a few more things to talk about it, but now I'm going to throw the ball to one of you because I know you have things to share too. But yeah, it was really amazing. And guys, you know, we have the best job in the world.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Let me just say this. It's a good thing that we're discussing food right now after dinner time over here in Portugal, because hearing you talk about all of those fantastic dishes is already making me a little bit hungry. But yeah, it's amazing. Everything is good over here, and basically, yeah, food for me, it's kind of like a bit of a conduit to our cultural as well. The women know this. They've known this for quite a while. They say that the fastest way to a man's heart is through the stomach. They're right. They're right. I would say that the fastest way to a local culture is also through the gastronomy. And
I agree.
yeah, so we have a lot of fantastic dishes over here, running food tours. It's an amazing way, in my opinion, of getting to know the culture, the history that is behind the dish, and why some things are called the way that they are called, and even why some people are called the way they are called. But I'll let that into a little bit more. I'll just pass on the ball now to Lionel because I know that he loves to do these. Let's call it exploration trips and
Yeah,
quality control regarding the
exactly.
gastronomy of the country. So, what do you have to say about this, Lionel?
Well, in fact, I do a lot of preparation for my tours, and some people sometimes don't notice everything that was done before a certain kind of experience. Okay, and I use very often the excuse to go out for dinner or for lunch with my wife, with some friends. But in fact, what I'm doing, I'm still working. Okay, I'm assessing the quality of a
Yeah, yeah.
plate. I'm trying certain dishes. I'm checking how is the service, how is the ambience. Okay, that happened last week. I had a great tour, a great wine tour, but I wanted to check a few alternatives of restaurants for the wine tour, okay, because we visited two wineries, and meanwhile I wanted to take my guests for lunch. I have the safe choice, but I wanted to do something else, and I wanted to assess this or that place. So the day before, I went to have dinner in a place that I hadn't been for years, just to see how it was going. And this is part of the business. Okay, we need to prepare a lot of these things to also to know when people get to us and they tell us about uh, food restrictions or special requests. I would like to eat this. I don't like to eat that. We need to know where to go and what to do, what to provide. But that day ended up being even more special. The day on the wine tour, um, it was really amazing that we, by coincidence or kind of a little bit just by accident, ended up having the great experience. I had scheduled the winery for 10 a.m. Okay, the first winery, and we arrived there. There was like 9:50, 9:55, and it's a small town, very small town. In fact, I was parking the car. I saw one of the guides of the winery walking by, and meanwhile, I hear a car with with a horn just making a noise, and I said, "Oh well, there comes the baker." And the girl from the winery just goes to the van to buy the fresh bread, okay, that she would be preparing for the tasting, because they serve bread and olive oil for for the tasting as well, with the wine. Okay, my guests just love that. Okay, what's best to immerse on the local experience of the local community than when you're arriving at the place, you just have the baker delivering the fresh bread that you're going to eat in 1 hour something. So it's pretty much impossible to have this kind of experience on all the massified places that we see and that we know plenty of people go. Because all of this stuff, it's prepared on the backstage or in a quite industrial way. You end up not seeing this kind of stuff. So if you really want to provide something unique, that was just bread, okay, and great bread, in fact. But for my guests to have seen what just happened before, they were amazed with that. Okay, so it made that special touch. And then during the day, we had a little bit of a spare time, moving in between lunch and the second winery, and I made a detour to drive a little bit through some of the vineyards. As you know, the vineyards now, they are losing the leaves, the colors are changing, but it's still nice to drive through the vineyards. And there is a very special little cafe that makes some local cakes. And of course, I needed to stop to grab a box of them. So my guests ended up trying something that they never had heard about. Okay, for you, you might be a bit more familiar with pastel de feijão. It's made with white beans, but most people don't even imagine that you can grind white beans and make some sweets with it. So sometimes these little spots that we end up going, they make a total difference. And I've done plenty of food tours in the past. I know pretty much the preset menu from the several food tours, and I could start doing some food tours like anyone else, following the same recipe. But even on the city of Lisbon, there's plenty of other spots that deserve a visit. So, for 2025, there will be some news about that, because, as I usually say, we don't eat to live, we live to eat over here, and we just love it. So, this is one of the great things of this job, is to have the opportunity to try some stuff. And uh, before I'll throw the ball to Sergio, I'm just going to, I've remembered something that happened several years ago on your region. Well, by coincidence, I ended up going to a restaurant. My guests had asked for the roasted baby goat, and a place that you need to call the day before for them to prepare it for the next day because it's the only dish they serve. So you need to call ahead to serve that. um, it's not like just wandering around, finding a restaurant, entering at the door, and having a menu. Okay, it's this kind of places that still exist on the country. You need to call the day before. You need to book that experience, and then you will really immerse on the local culture, and you will help the locals, because the reason why those people want to order or want the meals to be ordered ahead, it's not to waste stuff, not to have extra food that they won't do anything with it. Okay, so if you are a group of five, we'll prepare it for five. If you are a group of 10, we'll prepare it for 10. And that's how the local businesses sometimes work. And some people sometimes don't understand that you cannot just go and walk in and have everything ready. Okay, this applies
Mm-hmm.
to some of these local restaurants, some of the small wineries, some unique bakeries here and there. So this is where the true immersion with the local culture, and of course respecting the local culture, makes a total difference, because we are really taking care and trying not to harm, okay, someone's business. So it's very important at this point. But I see we have over here some comments. Oh,
Mike,
Monica, fresh bread and olive
Yep.
oil. Okay, so you should reach out to me, and I'll take you to that beautiful winery. Okay, and I know what time the baker arrives at the winery, so you can still buy something directly from the baker truck. Okay, and then we'll do the visit and the beautiful wine tasting. But well, nothing can get better than, as we usually say, uh, bread and olive oil. Okay, it's already a good start for a great meal over here.
Yep, but I
Sergio,
think I
back
can
to you.
do a little. I think I can do a little bit better than just getting the bread and the olive oil.
Oh, for sure, for
In
sure.
a couple of years, maybe I'll have people baking their own bread and choosing the olive oil for their tasting,
Well,
because that's one of the things of the local culture. If we want people to
sign
be immersed in the,
me in. Okay, sign
oh,
me in.
me too.
absolutely. And who's saying bread? Because, well, having an oven available means that we're probably going to be able to do other things, not just bread. We're talking maybe foulard, we're talking maybe bolo de carne,
Oh
all those
yeah,
fantastic things that we love in the north. And since we have the oven going, might as well do that roasted baby goat in the firewood oven, which I think I know the place that you are talking about. It's very close to a very popular viewpoint of the Douro
exactly,
Valley, I imagine.
exactly.
Yep,
It's
I
that
know
one.
the owner. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you can only get that on weekends. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's truly a very unique, it's not even a meal, it's an experience in itself.
Hmm.
So it's one of those places where you have to time it right to be there. You need to prepare yourself beforehand, call ahead. And if we typically say that good Portuguese people, they don't make reservation at any restaurants. But this is the exception. This is definitely the exception if you want to
Yeah.
secure that dish. And the view over there from their restaurant, fantastic, amazing. So yeah, it's for food tours. Yeah, you mentioned that you could do the cookie cutter food tour in
Yeah.
Lisbon. We also have those ones over here in Porto where people will take you. Hey, you want to go? You have to try the bifane. You go to Conga. If you want to try the pork sandwich, you go to Casagete. If you want to try the francesinha, you go to Brasão,
let
for
me
example.
let me just interrupt you in one thing. Okay, I've been telling this to my guests, and as you know, I've been staying in Porto overnight a few
Oh yeah.
times. I have my own, as I usually say, Michelin guide on francesinhas in Porto, because I've been trying always a different one every time I stop. And there is a big Facebook group just dedicated to francesinhas, so there is a big to-do list. There is a big to-do list to go there and to try.
Yeah,
But
as a
go
person
ahead.
from the north, I can tell you that that group over there is they promote over there some francesinhas that send shivers down my spine, to be honest. But
Yeah, I
it's
know.
okay. I'll try it at least once so that I won't die
Yeah,
ignorant.
yeah.
But yeah, it's absolutely one of those things that one should do in Porto, absolutely. But then there's an entirely different side of the gastronomy everywhere you go. And I'm talking about Porto because this is the place that I'm more familiar with, obviously. But for example, over here, casaguete for the bifana, conga, sorry, casaguete for the pork sandwich, conga for the bifana, brasão for the francesinha. And then you go to one of the sellers in Vila Nova de Gaia for the Porto wine. Usually that's it. That's the food tour of Porto. Oh, and by the way, if I forget about it, you have manteigaria for the pastel
Hmm.
de nata. So that's it. That's a food tour in Porto. I could do that, but where's the fun in that? I
Hmm.
would be just another guy doing the same thing that 100 other guides are doing. So
Exactly.
I once took my wife and I, we took a tour. We were invited by a food tour company over here in Porto. And the reason why we liked their food tour was precisely because they took us to places that we were not expecting. And they had us try dishes that are typical from the region, from the north, from the city, um, but the type of dishes that you would expect to find being prepared by your mother at her place. And I often say this. A lot of people ask me, so what's the place that you recommend for a dinner in Porto? And I always tell them it's the only place where you cannot get a reservation. It's my mother's house. So that is typical, authentic, genuine Portuguese food. And I'm not saying that the francesinha, the pastel nata aren't,
Yeah.
but it's an entirely different experience. And for example, uh, pastel de chaves, it's one of the things that people don't often talk about, but it's
Oh,
also
yeah.
very typical over here in the
You,
north.
you want to know
There are,
what's funny? I had one for a quick snack this afternoon in Cascais, but that's
there
another
you go.
story.
Yeah, but Chaves, well, for people
I
knowing the
know.
geography, you couldn't have a place that is north of Portugal than that. There's
I
very
know.
few places that are to the top, to the northernmost portion of Portugal other than Chaves. But yeah, you have pastel de Chaves. What else do you have? Let me think about it really quickly. Oh, iscas de bacalhau. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
very typical, and we don't often hear things about this. One of the things that my mother loves to prepare arroz malandrino. In
Mm-hmm.
English, I would call it the runaway rice. Fantastic, because it has to be prepared on the spot. You cannot wait for another 15 or 20 minutes because the
Yeah.
rice goes completely soggy. It has to be done on the spot, and you have to eat it on the spot over there.
Yeah.
A lot of people come to Porto. Fortunately, in terms of wine, the trend is now shifting a little bit, and it's not just that focus on Porto is for Porto wine and that's it. A lot of people have been trying Vinho Verde wine. A lot of people have been
Mm-hmm.
trying even Dão wine, and these are some of the wine regions that are gaining a little bit of more good reputation over here. So that's good to hear. I've been saying this. I think that over the course of the next 5 years or so, these regions are going to be discovered, and I think we're gonna. Right now, we're doing all the work of being the trailblazers for this new region, uh, and then yeah, there's other places. But other dishes, like for example, a lot of people think that the francesinha is the typical dish of Porto. It's not. And if you go to a local person from Porto, I'm not talking younger generations. I'm talking the 60 or 70-year-old guy, and you ask him, well, where do you go to eat the traditional dish of the town? And the guy is gonna point you to a place where you're not gonna eat the francesinha. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna eat tripes.
Exactly.
That is the typical dish of Porto. So yeah, these are the nuances that a tour guide brings when running a food tour. And if you see the same tour being repeated over and over again, that's probably not that typical, and it's probably, well, not that typical. It's probably just what sells and what
Mm-hmm.
Standard.
people hear
Yeah.
about, and just they make that connection. Okay, this has the popularity, there's demand for this, so I'm going to push this, which sometimes cannot be fully representative of the gastronomy of a place, and more often than not, it's not. It's not what we locals eat. over here. So a lot of people think that we over here in Porto, we would eat a francesinha pretty much every year, every weekend or so.
Not at all.
I think I eat one francesinha maybe every 2 weeks. Sorry,
Oh,
2 months.
okay.
Two
Okay.
months. No,
Yeah.
because if I was eating
It
in
would
two
be
weeks, I would be like
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
you would need a widescreen over there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
But yeah, well, one francesinha every 2 months. Yeah, maybe 5 or 6 a year. That's it. I might go on a spree if I am having some friends over for holidays and whatnot, and I might eat, I don't know, two, three every one per week every over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, but that's the exception. That's not the rule. So yeah, there's a lot of value in having a different tour being orchestrated by a tour guide that wants to show you a different cultural side, and food is also culture.
Yeah, exactly.
We want to show different things, and again, these are reflections of our personal preferences. When I go to a fish and seafood restaurant, I've already explained this to customers. My preference falls upon the octopus and the squid, the seafood, more generally seafood than fish. But it's not because the fish is bad. It's just because I'm a little bit lazy and I don't like to take the bones out of the fish. That's it. So I'm just a little bit lazy. So yeah, octopus, amazing. Gabriel, you were talking about the octopus cataplana. Uh,
Amazing, man.
if there was an
That,
image running through my mouth, it was me just drooling myself over it.
Sergio, last year you've been here, and I know I owe you a trip to Faro because you never been there. We go for a Faro food tour, and I'm gonna take you for the octopus cataplana.
Well,
I promise. Okay.
I'm looking at being there maybe in May. So I might
Well,
take you up on that offer,
it's a
but
great
we'll see.
it's a great season. It's a great
Yeah,
season. Yeah.
just before
Well,
silly season in the Algarve.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just a couple more thoughts in general. So I've talked a little bit about food, how it is a vehicle to our culture as well. I've talked a little bit about alternative dishes, alternative foods that you can have in the different locations. I focus a little bit more on the north, but I'm sure you guys have your own
Oh, yeah.
examples in the
Oh,
center
yes.
and in the south of the country as well. And then we also have another things, engaging with local culture. Well, eating our food, trying the different dishes, that's a little bit, but the way that you interact with people is also going to be a little bit different. And I want to just bring up an issue that Lionel, you mentioned this several times over and a few months ago as well. Uh, a lot of people, they have that wish list of restaurants that they need to go to while they're staying in a particular town.
mhm.
Don't be afraid to venture out of that wish list because, as you mentioned it very well, for every popular restaurant that has a waiting list, there's 20 more restaurants that are equally as good, if not better, that are
Yeah.
just struggling to make ends meet. And
Yeah,
my biggest advice for people visiting the towns, don't be afraid to try these restaurants because more often than not, they're going to be super grateful that you're placing your faith in them and they're going to deliver fantastic food. One of the things that I usually tell people over here is that if you're having a bad gastronomic experience in the country, you have to try really hard to have a bad gastronomic experience in Portugal,
mhm.
Yeah.
but really,
Yeah.
really
True.
hard. And I would say, I don't know, maybe 29 out of 30 times, I hear people saying that the food over here is excellent. I have never
Exactly. Yeah,
tried anything
agree.
like this. And that's when they realize what quality food is. Most of the people that I host come from precisely from the US, and there's a little bit of a different food culture over here compared to ours. Over here in Portugal, we are more into the sustainably produced organic farming. It's becoming a bit of a trend. So farm to table has been seeing a bit of a crescendo over the last couple of years, and people are turning into more organic, more sustainably grown food which ends up tasting quite a bit better actually. So yeah,
Mhm.
it adds to the experience, not just in the flavor wise, but also in terms of nutritional value. And these places they are also going to offer these dishes, these amazing dishes. So don't be afraid to try different restaurants. My biggest recommendation whenever people ask me for restaurant recommendations, nowadays in Porto there are so many. It's very difficult to keep track of everything that is opening, that is closing, what is changing, and what is not. So my biggest recommendation is go early as soon as the restaurant's open, so that you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to wait for the table. So
Hmm.
look at having your lunch at around 12:30. That's around the time that most kitchens in the restaurants open, and then just follow your nose. If it smells good, take a chance on it, because if it smells good, chances are that it's going to taste even better.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're having second thoughts about the quality of the place, take a quick peek inside, look how many tables there are, and even better, if you're able to do it, take a quick glance of the bathrooms, because the bathrooms speak volume about the quality of the
Oh
kitchen as
yeah,
well. So
exactly.
I always tell people these are the three indicators for me. How big the place is, does it smell good, are the bathrooms presentable or not? So these are my go-tos. And if all three criteria have a pass in my list, then I'll take a chance on them. And more
Hmm.
often than not, I'm very pleasantly surprised with high quality food and really affordable prices. So you don't need to pay 50, 60, 70 euros to have a fantastic meal over here. In fact, if you want to eat like a local, and this is something that we've already discussed on a previous episode, look for those places that just have what they call prato do dia
Mm-hmm.
written on a blackboard at the entrance of the restaurant. That is the typical working class gastronomic experience over here in the city. Usually it's 10 to 15 euros per person, and it will usually include, for example, a starter or a soup, the main dish, and you can choose typically between two to three meat dishes, one or two fish dishes. Sometimes they even have vegetarian options. Then there's either a coffee or a dessert included and a beverage as well. All of this for 15 euros. And this will get you enough energy to go about your day until you get to lunchtime. Sorry, to dinner time.
Hmm.
So these are
Hmm.
some of the cultural aspects as well. And again, with the impact on the local communities of just do not overload that one place, because the other 20 places that are looking for to have
Exactly.
some business, you will be losing some, we will be losing some gastronomic marvels from those small places, because they cannot compete in terms of marketing with the hype that has been created surrounding those big popular places.
Mm.
So this is basically my take on it. I don't currently run a food tour in Porto. I have plenty enough to entertain myself with at the Douro Valley, and there are a couple of places over there that I like to go to, and that I know that provide fantastic dinner, lunch and dinner experiences over there, particularly with the wine pairings. I am a strong believer that food and wine should go together,
Mm-hmm.
because one is going to enhance the experience of the other one and
Yeah.
vice versa. And well, maybe in the future, because we've been talking about food, maybe I'll have a little bit of a gastronomic experience myself, which will maybe include a little bit of bread, a little bit of wine, a little bit of olive oil at the Douro Valley. Last thing that I want to mention, local experiences. What you said, Lionel, about the having the baker delivering the bread at the doorstep. I, I run not it's not precisely a food tour. It's more of a cooking class at the Douro Valley. But that's one of the things that I like to offer the my customers the opportunity, is precisely to have the experience of being able to choose their own bread as they are arriving to the village, because I host the cooking class at my family's house at the village, and the baker, he actually stops right in front of my door over there. So we just need to be there at the time he stops. And people are very surprised to hear the horn, which sounds a little bit different. We all know the
Yeah.
sound; it's completely different from all the horns out in the street. And then people are very surprised. That's the baker. Let's go get our bread. And they're like, "How do you know that's the baker?" Well, did you just hear the horn? And when he opens up the van, you see all the different types of bread, all the pastries
Mm-hmm.
that he also brings. And so we usually tell people, yeah, you can choose your bread, you can choose your pastries over here as well. So it's a fantastic experience, and
Yeah.
it's
That,
one of the things that we're very proud of. A lot of people ask, how do people live in the villages of the Douro Valley or in the villages of other locations? Um, well, how do you get your first necessity goods, your food and whatnot? Well, we don't go to the supermarket. The supermarket comes to us.
Comes
Exactly.
to us. Yeah, it comes
Yeah.
to us. Yeah, exactly.
I'm from that time, okay, having a
Uh,
truck that
Me
would
too.
come on every Wednesday,
Yeah.
okay,
Bread,
that would
milk,
bring exactly
milk.
no all sorts of all sorts of
Right.
Yeah, all
foods.
sorts of.
You have the baker, you
Some
have the butcher,
yeah,
you have the fisherman, and sometimes now at the village at where we have the family house, we even have on weekends, on Saturdays, there is a guy that brings his truck, which is a huge truck for making piri piri chicken over there to the village.
okay, but
Yeah.
I even remember the good old days where the guy bringing that mobile grocery, okay, a truck, because he would sell even like soap or all the cleaning stuff and whatever. He also used to sell the kerosene for the old lamps, okay, that some people still had because it was very common to have power failures back then. So the backup was one old kerosene lamp. So people would have always a little bit of fuel for those. So, I grew
Yeah,
up with that. I grew up with the old cloth bag on the door
Me
hanging
too.
for the baker to deliver the bread early in the morning. So, and it's cool to see that some of these traditions here and there still exist. So,
Exactly.
instead of just going after the trendy places that have lines of people and have become commercial, we try to add a little bit of this local touch to the experiences, and it makes a total difference for us, for the guests, and for the people that still run that business, okay, because that makes them move forward. So it's really something that I want to do more and more. It's try to include this kind of stuff.
now there is
Yeah,
one
me too.
place in the Douro Valley. I don't even know exactly. The chef that I have a partnership with, and we both run the cooking classes together. He doesn't even want to tell me where it is, but there is one lady at the Douro Valley that is doing one thing that is the couscous of Vinhais, considered to be the best
Okay.
one in the country, and she is the only one doing it. If she's
Hmm.
gone,
Okay.
we're going to lose that little bit of gastronomy over here in Portugal. And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
this is actually one of the things that the chef is really adamant in preparing when he hosts the cooking classes. Whenever he can, he will prepare a dish using the couscous of Vinhais because, well, it's part of our history. And hopefully, by keeping that person in business just a little bit longer, maybe someone in the future will be able to take on the mantle of producing that recipe.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's very unique and it's on the verge of disappearing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And this is just one of
Well,
the examples that I know of. I imagine that
Oh
there's
yeah,
going to be plenty of
plenty
yeah.
of
those
Oh, yes.
examples
So,
in our
yeah.
gastronomy that are on the verge of disappearing. That
Yeah.
once they're gone, they're gone. It's almost like, I don't know, having your grandmother preparing a dish for the very last time, and then you're not expecting it, and she passes. And
Yeah.
you're never going to have that taste again.
yeah.
It's a little bit
Exactly.
nostalgic. It's sad,
Yeah.
but well, at least by promoting these smaller places, we're all trying to keep these little businesses alive. And as tour
Uh,
guides, I feel again like we have this responsibility to do a little bit better and to show the country that it's not the commercialized country anymore. There's
Hmm.
some people out there who are out just for making money. That's perfectly fine. Don't
yeah.
get us wrong, we're tour guides. We also have to make a living, but our passion also lies in showing you these little things,
Hmm.
these little unknown and more genuine, authentic things.
Yeah.
So, food for thought, pun not intended on this one, because we've been talking about food for the last
Yeah.
40
Yeah.
minutes. And I'm sorry, guys, I always get a little bit
No,
carried
no
away with
problem,
all
no
No,
of
well,
problem.
this.
Yeah, no,
well, well,
I like to listen. You said it all. I was about to share some thoughts, but you said it all. And well, just to finish from my hand, it's exactly what you said. I think when I take people off the beaten paths to the hills, I take people to places where they don't even, I mean, they don't even want tourists there. Not because they don't like tourists, because they don't even speak English. They don't even have menus in English, but they do these very good stews, these very good soups. So it's amazing. So, and yes, we have this responsibility, and this is what I like to do too. Of course, I also visit popular spots, but I try to avoid to follow the trends. Many people, they follow the trends. okay, it's fine, but there's another world out there, and that's where I love to take people. And I think I've been doing good because the feedback, it's been great. Guys, it's everything from my hand, you know. My belly is already full.
Yeah, well, with all this
Amazing.
talk, I think I'm gonna go check if there is something to bite just after this, okay? Because
Yeah, well,
my dinner is already a long way gone, so I probably need
yeah.
to grab something else.
I'm okay. I had a big food tour. Jesus, I still feel the octopus around my eyes. I'm good.
Hey guys, was amazing having you again over here.
Likewise,
Hope everyone
likewise.
had a great weekend, and I wish everyone a great week ahead. So don't forget to follow us. This video, Lionel is gonna post it
Upload
on
on
YouTube
YouTube.
in a few moments. So if you were not able to catch us live, you're gonna be able to see it later and rewind all of this. And then, well, everyone, have a great week. And guys, see you again next week, same time, same
Yeah,
place.
Here we
we'll
go.
be back
It
here
will be
next week.
here.
Okay,
Have a great weekend.
thank you.
Bye bye, guys.
Bye, enjoy.
Bye, everyone.